It's okay. We'll just go on YouTube, man. But,
yeah, right.
But
yeah.
Let's see. There it goes. The Merlin magic worked.
You've got it. You've
All
got
right.
it.
Let me share. Okay, I'm gonna. We're live on Facebook, but I'll roll the show out in just a minute. Let me just share it through the network. Okay. All right. We got 6 people here in the Zoom room. Christine, Hannah Lee, Aniki, Catherine McKay, Maria Iverson from Sweden, and Satara Dolores Piscador. Thank you for coming. Let's see here. What do we want to do? Here. Yeah, we're going to have a good show today.
We are.
The last one set off a bunch of fireworks. No, it didn't set off fireworks. It just, it was the
Unravel the knot.
Prerequisite to, whatever it was. Preceded the calm before the storm. All right, so okay,
unravel the knot.
Yeah. All right, so let me turn this on. Got good sound. Hello, Monique Hendry, my dear beloved sister. Can't wait till the day I can wrap my arms around you. Elizabeth Rudwick, Sherry Dye, Eon Boldy, Sherilyn's here from Sedona. She says, hey, I made the live. Yes, the magic of Merlin is so very powerful. Maria Magdalena, Joan Kirkendall, Renee Nay Harris, Morgan Lee, Neil Devaney, Day Woods, Catalina de Amor, Britta Junker from Germany, Sarah Gonzalez. Who else was here? Anne, Christine Skoglin. And who else? Louis Machi. Louis Machi has been one of the longest supporters we've had. He's in New York City. I've been there twice and I haven't seen him, and I want to see him one day. So thank you, Louis, and for everybody out there, thank you for your continued love and support contributions that allow us to keep doing this until we can gain greater abundance from the effort of our energy of our efforts. Put it that, of all of our collective efforts. 49 people in the house. Ruth Freeman, Susan Marie's here, Amira Beth, our island mate. Marianne Savino, beautiful lady from New York area. And Dorian, my friend Dory, and Freddie in Salt Lake City, Utah. 55 people in the house. That's an ascended master number, so I guess we can get started. As we're all coming into the knowing that we're all ascended masters, revisiting this for a very good reason. I don't know if that's true, but there's someone around here. There has to be.
Yeah.
So welcome, Nikki. It's always a joy sitting down with you privately and publicly. How you been doing? How's Glen Ray?
So look forward to it always.
Yeah.
A good chin wag.
A good chin wag. I don't know where you want to start today. You go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, there's lots of places. There's so much going on for people. You know, I think probably a good one is to just quickly backtrack to the other session you mentioned, where I'll call it the unraveling of a knot, because I've come across a lot of people now are dealing with things related to that, and it seems to be centered around leadership.
Leadership,
yes, yeah. Because we've got this saying and this knowing that, you know, that there's no authority higher than self and God.
Yeah.
And so there's a kind of a fear about taking leadership, because you see where leadership has taken us in the old 3D, and yet this is the issue that was the knot that was untied, and a lot of people are dealing with it at both at a lower level or not a lower level, but at the level of their daily life, their family, their friends, people, their teachers and mentors, but also at a more societal level where you have people, leaders who have great influence, call them gurus, whatever you like. And, you know, the whole issues come to the surface. I cut my teeth, or shall we say, my training from the Great White Brotherhood in the early days. This was in the 70s. One of the things that I and a brother of mine were required to do was to go in and break up a organization, a movement, where there was a guru and there were lots of devotees. And it was our task to break the whole thing up. So we had to go, and it was part of our training. And of course, the spiritual movement mostly is reflected through the attachment to and the involvement with the Indian teachers, because the guru thing is very much a part of their culture.
Yeah.
And so Westerners went in to go and be able to sit in their cave, their ashram, and receive enlightenment. And of course, we know for everybody it doesn't work like that. It didn't work like that. However, it was an important journey for each individual to take.
Yeah.
But they go into a place, they go into a situation where there's this beautiful feeling, and the attribution of the feeling is made towards the leader who's teaching.
Yeah.
And the truth is that though the leader may be genuine and have truth from their own experience, what people gain is not about the guru, it's about themselves.
Yeah.
And it was shown to me when I did my trip to India, my first one. And I was looking for the experience of a person who blew me away, right?
Right.
And I never found one in physicality, even though I went to that ashram. But one of the places I went to was the place for Babaji. It's down in Bangalore. And I came into the courtyard in the morning, and there was the women sitting on one side and the men sitting on the other side in the courtyard, waiting for the appearance of Babaji. He would come in his chauffeur-driven car and walk down between them and then stand up on the dais and speak. Well, I sat there for an hour, and I'm not very patient. I'm not a good ashrami, because you know, sitting for an hour, yes, but sitting any longer, I just felt it was a waste of time for me to sit any longer. That was just me. Anyway, we're sitting there for an hour, and there's this beautiful, beautiful feeling of love. It's subtle, and it's just running through everybody, and it's all around. And as you sat there, you felt this. It was comforting. It was enfolding. It sort of permeated the whole of me, and I sat there in peace, and it was beautiful. But I thought, well, he's not coming, you know, and I can't be bothered waiting here much longer. I don't know how long the devotees were sitting there. So I got up and I started walking away. And as I was walking away and got beyond the crowd a little bit, the car drove up and out he came. And he started walking down the center. And I looked at him and I thought, he's just a man.
Yeah.
He's just a man. And I didn't feel anything in particular. I'm not saying that he wasn't, and I'm not denying anything about who he is, but it was only for me.
Yeah.
And I realized that the love I felt there when I sat was the love of the devotion of the disciples and followers of him. it wasn't Baba G, it was them.
Yeah.
That was a huge lesson to me.
Yeah.
You know, this is not to put down any teacher.
No.
But it was all about that. And that was a wonderful lesson. I realized that the first part of my trip. And I found out on my trip that the teachers who came to me were not an embodiment.
Yeah.
And that's where I got, if you like, my growth with them was from my interaction, if you like, at a higher level than physicality. However, what's this got to do with the price of fish in China?
No, it's relevant. It's relevant to what. Keep going.
Yeah. And subsequently, I became, I was already teaching and holding sessions in my home for a number of years, and people were coming and going, and it continued. And it continued. I was trained to, or shown and led to the fact of initiating others into the Great White Brotherhood. And that was such an honor.
Yeah.
It was such an honor. And it was being initiated into a frequency, shall we say, a frequency.
Yeah.
Where people felt their belonging and could feel the energy if they would respond to it.
Yeah.
But most of them didn't. Most of them took it as a membership and as something special.
Yeah.
And therefore it distanced them.
Yeah.
It distanced them from their listening to themselves. They began listening to me more and more and more. And for a time, I thought I felt myself as special, and I fell into the trap. I fell into the trap of ego, of feeling special, and they need me.
Yeah, the higher your soul goes, the more your ass shows.
Yeah, that's right. So it became more and more subtle.
Yeah, and understandable too.
Yeah, and it made me more uncomfortable because I was always struggling with my ego. And so in the end, to cut a long story short, I reached the point where I went with them, I withdrew and became, you can say depressed, but not really depressed. It's like lost my feeling. Because the whole spiritual path became a mind thing.
Yeah.
Not a heart thing. And it was too much. And by the grace of God, I disbanded the whole lot. Yeah. Disbanded the whole lot. But what a lesson. What a lesson.
A lot of ego death along the way.
Yeah, yes.
Identity death.
Yes.
You know.
Well, I've subsequent to that, I've been to an ashram and stayed in an ashram because I'd never stayed in an ashram before, some years later. And I saw a guru. He's still around. He's still well known and world famous. But I have seen what all the intricacies of their use of people's devotion.
Yeah.
To enslave.
Yes.
And to, if you like, put people into positions that they would not normally choose.
Yeah.
And it also centers around sex.
Yes.
Although nothing, you know, it seems from all the talk that it's, nothing could be further from the truth.
Yeah.
But you see, and it's insidious because it's not just the leader, but his, I'll call it henchman. Or you go into a place and you see all these men masquerading as many gurus.
Yeah. Masturbating. I know you said masculine, I said masturbating.
They masquerading.
Energetically, I mean.
Right. And It's a very insidious game, and I know that I have written stuff where to help the devotees who have seen the light, but feel psychologically destroyed
Yeah.
by it, and that's where my work has been. Now, this happens. It's not just this. We're talking about a larger level. Uh, gurus who are very well known.
Yeah.
But it happens at a lower level too. The teacher who's got a tool or a modality, and people receive some benefit from it and attribute the value to the presence of the teacher.
Yeah.
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 And so it occurs there.
Yeah.
So the other side of it is we understand and we're taught, and it makes sense that there are no more gurus, and that this has even led to the whole idea that even hierarchy, is not has no value or reality. And I think this is a difficulty, because then we are on our own.
Well, that was the whole, well, I mean, if we look at this, look, Hindu, the gurus you're talking about were Hindu, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the same dynamic happens.
Yeah.
In Christianity and all religion.
Yeah. I've seen it. We've all seen it,
Yeah.
in Christianity. But my point is, Hinduism, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, of the major religions, is far older
Yes.
than the others. And I got some intel this morning, had to do with the divine feminine, has to do with the stuff that's been coming up about that. It was a personal thing, but my point is that part of what came in was how, which I've heard before, but it really sunk in at a level, how she was erased, how she was removed and expunged. And if you look at the structures that were put in place, they're all pretty much designed the same, whether it's a Baptist church or an ashram. It's primarily a male leader surrounded by other male leaders, or mid-level managers, or whatever you want to call it. It's a patriarchal system. I'm sure there's gurus that fall off the ego cliff and premeditatedly manipulate and such, but obviously we're all the same, and we all have that God spark, and they're doing, much of what they're doing is service. And but my point is I'm glad you brought this up, because I think we are in a position to change these structures. And I believe not just because of what I received this morning, but because of what we've all been receiving and come to terms with, which has been a struggle, because there is a male incarnation, there's a female incarnation. Energetically, that typically follows the same path, but not always. And what I'm trying to say is, it would make sense to me that the divine feminine, the sacred divine feminine, take her rightful place as a leader, and if necessary, take the lead, which would only make sense because the pendulum has swung so far over. In order to get back to that 0 point, we might have to go to the other side. And we talked about this a little bit. An example is the Prime Minister of New Zealand. But as long as the Catholic Church, the Vatican, is run by men, the governments are run by men, the religious institutions are run by men, and that whole program is still in place, obviously nothing's going to change. What's the definition of insanity, right? Do the same thing over and over and expect a different result. So really, it's incumbent upon us. And how do we get there? How do we elevate her consciously, individually and collectively? How do we do that?
Yeah. Well, Todd, I'd like to take a slightly different line with this. I don't think uh, it doesn't help me to think of male and female in this. It doesn't help me. It is the old. It's definitely clear that it is. But in the new, no, it's not. We don't, it's not a matter of females taking the lead and the men stepping back. Although that is true, I mean, there's as much a recognition as a male that we are all equal, and that it's simply that. And in that knowing, then you look at authority differently. I want, I described what I described in order to illustrate what most of us know. But there's what I wanted to say is that there's a fear in those who are coming home to themselves of being a leader, of being a guru, because they know from their own experience, and not just in this incarnation, others, what the trading your freedom for the luxury of feeling superior has done to humanity. And that is that's both in men and women, trading. And so there's a fear of that, of trading your freedom for the luxury of feeling superior, falling into that trap.
It's called selling your soul, isn't it?
Yeah. However, what I want to say is the only person that I can know is me. The only experience I can know is my experience. And so, and nobody, not even my beloved, knows me like I know me. So I am the authority of me.
Yeah.
And when I share my presence of knowing, because, and I say this truly from me, I am the way, the truth, and the light. I am that I am. And only I, the I part of the I am, knows that in the fullness of my being for me. However, whatever I do, whatever I say, whatever I think, reflects that if I am true to I am the way, the truth, and the light. Only, and it reflects out. So when you and I meet, I've talked about download, there's a download between everyone we meet. There's a download going on now between what I am giving and everyone who is on this call and hears this call. But the download goes in, it's in their field, as it were, and they unpack according to them, and we're unique to them, however they resonate. So if you listen, you will receive, and you will receive not what I specifically intend for you, but you will receive what you intend for you. But in my words and my speech here now, I'm speaking from authority.
Yeah.
The authority is me. And I have authority. You have your authority. And when you speak, the authority is everything about what you say, the vibration of it, your presence, the I am in you. That is what is out there, what you give to the other, and the person can unpack.
Yeah.
So the responsibility is for us to unpack. Yeah. And the unpacking is in feeling. It's always in feeling. And the more subtly you can unpack, you can be attuned to your feeling, the more unpacking you can do. that is relevant for you. So when I speak with authority. Now, is that statement ego or not? I leave it to you. You have to decide whether it's ego or not. But that doesn't give me dominion over you. And so one of the reasons I'm saying this is because I've moved significantly for me from the position of it's my life, it's my journey, I'm responsible for it all, and so I have to do it all. That's what masters do. And I have realized I don't have to. I don't have to do it all, because there are authorities who know more than me at the level I am here now. And so there are those I will recognize their authority, and their authority is not over me. Their authority is being a clearer sight than I have, because they're in they're at a different level. And I think this is what Alicia was saying when she was saying, I feel, I know that she was saying that there are beings who are not incarnate, who can see in my field what I can't see. And so to have access and the freedom and the expansion, I can acknowledge their authority. Not authority over me, but authority to share and do something for me, which I cannot do at this point of awareness. And there was a fear within me of giving away my authority. And it's not giving away authority. It's saying, I take the highest and I expect the highest, and I will only allow the highest. But the highest can, even with all this clearing people going on, you can even approach the highest and say, look, I'm feeling confused. I don't know what it is. Remove it for me. Yeah. Remove it for me. And they'll remove it. And I don't even have to know why.
Yeah.
And I will feel the subtle feeling of that relief immediately.
Yeah. True.
But the difficulty with me was these years and years of mastery, of taking my own responsibility for everything, including the way that the full gambit of what the ego does and the mental mind will do. And you see, I'm not thinking from this or that. I'm not thinking male or female, because I am both. You can say it, but I am both. So sometimes the feminine in me rises, and sometimes the masculine does, but they are intertwined. They're intertwined, and it's not a matter of ascendancy, descendancy. So if I'm saying that, okay, I've got to wait for the feminine to rise, you ask a lot of the beautiful ladies who have risen to say, when are the men coming?
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
We're saying, we shouldn't step forward because we don't want to usurp them anymore.
I don't know. I'm following what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this part about giving authority, or I would say giving your decision making to the disincarnated team
Mm.
that assists you, your higher aspect. I don't know the message I received today, which is on Mother's Day.
Mm.
Go figure. You know,
Yeah.
all Mother Mary, Magdalene, consciousness. As I or I think I'm understanding this thing is this is a paradise that we live on.
Mm.
It's a paradise that veils have been brought in, and we could see it less and less and less. So I don't know if it's and in the beginning, she was an equal to he, and they were physical goddesses, right? Now, we all know the story now. I don't think we really know how deep this thing has really gone, because the level of acceptance can only be rationalized by a lack of awareness. And what I'm trying to say is, I don't know if it's so much that we need to wait for her to rise, because I think she has.
Mm.
I think, and I don't think it has to do with him not stepping in. I think it has to do with letting the old go, completely removing ourselves from the patriarchal system, refusing to participate. And I agree with you. It could be a man or a woman in a position of leadership that if they carry that frequency, you know, such as a Marianne Williamson, okay?
Yeah.
Or it could be a man who openly brings in a team of primarily female incarnations. Why? 75, 80% of those in these circles we call light worker circles, ascension circles, are women.
Hmm.
I checked my YouTube for SoulogyOneStudios for last month's analytics. 95% of the tens of thousands of hours viewed were women. If I'm putting a team together in this age and this time in order to assist and serve and do what I know is aligning for my soul, I'm putting a team together that reflects those who are awake. And I'm not, and I agree with you. There's a genderless point, but I've learned this from the feminine. I'm in a man's body for a reason. You're in a man's body for a reason, and they are in their bodies for a reason. I understand that what we can do here, what we have done here, what we can do here and experience here is something we cannot do in the higher realms.
Mm. Yeah.
And that means that, yeah, the pain, the suffering, the emotions and all that, yes. But there's a flip side to that. And that is this incredible, unlimited potential era, time, whatever you want to call it, that we're in right now. And I believe we can take this as far as we want to go. And I agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't think the leaders there are no leaders. I think that's why this type of medium is effective, because it's a conversation.
Yeah.
Nobody's leading anybody. It's a conversation. And I'm just, maybe because it's Mother's Day, maybe it's because I got a visit this morning. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because of I don't know. But all I know is that I wake up this morning today and I know that I'm in further alignment as an individual with a mission. And that mission, to me, priority is to bring forth the truth as I understand it. It's just my truth. And that is, it's not her rising. It's not him stepping back. It's actually all of us refusing to participate anymore in the patriarchal template. It served us. We love it. We hug it. We don't separate from it. But it's time for a change, and it can happen immediately in any church, in any local community, in any organization, but we have to take these steps. And I say have to, and I know we don't have to do anything, but it just feels right.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's time. It's been too long. It's time. It's Mother's Day. And the energy of that is affecting me, and I'll be the first to admit that. I'm assuming that's what it is, but it's got to be affecting all of us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, beautifully said. Thanks, Todd. Yeah, and it was why I suppose, I've spoken in the last session about father. It is the truth of mother, father, one, and that they go together. I'm pointing to, I think, pointing to everyone, regardless of who they are, who's in a position of teaching, who own their authority. And the authority is, for me, one way, and there are so many ways of describing it, is your presence.
Yeah.
Is your presence. And you know that presence to the extent that you can feel and know the truth of, I am the way, the truth, and the light. I am that I am. And I like to go back to simple because I'm a simple person. Duh.
I am too. Thank God for Morgan.
Yes. It's in simple things that this realization gets stronger. And the first is this, everybody says now, not everybody, but so many of us use the metaphor of a hologram, and it's our hologram that we're viewing and so on. But I go back to when I was a child, so much wisdom in little Nicky. And I used to go to the movies on a Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon movies. And when I was about 8 or 9, regularly, and it came to me. I remember just walking down the hallway of our house, and I can still picture it. And I suddenly got the thought and the feeling and the knowing that I'm in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that the directors had set it up. And I'm the only actor in the movie. And everything is constructed for me. And I got that. And it was the truth. And it sent me on a search because I began to see everything as a movie.
Yeah.
And if we can do that now, every so often you can remind yourself, sit there and look at what's around you physically and see it as a movie. And there's you looking, say the observer, there's you, the allness of who you are, looking out at this movie going on. And to experience that, it takes you into your authority. You're this watcher. And this watcher and knower. And you have clarity of seeing because you see the movie. And it is a movie, and it's a wonderful movie. But it is a movie. It's only a temporary thing. And it can change in any way. You're happening to choose the movie in this form and this way. And it's no big deal, but you're watching it. And you're watching it from the point of love. And the love is not emotional. It's a deep, deep, subtle feeling of, like the father who's watching his son doing something that might not actually work, but he's experimenting, and the father watches, and he watches with this benign benevolence of love for his son and seeing him on his journey, and the joy of just and it's just a quiet, warm joy. And the mother who lifts him up when he's tired and carries him to bed and sings him a song with that same benevolence and love. And this is the I am watching as we go, as Nicky, this fellow I created, goes about his day and does things and gets involved and feels emotions and watches, not in a dispassionate way, but in a gentle, subtle, all-pervading, loving way. This Nicky fellow I created, who is very clumsy and trips over things, is always stubbing his toe. And you can feel nothing but love. And what we feel for ourselves that way, what we can feel for ourselves, we feel for everyone.
Yeah.
And so where does it come with the Mother's Day? This is it. It's like, it reminds us what we have received from the beauty and the reality of Mother, but it also keys us into the mother we are.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it's profound.
And if, God, this is, the more we see that, obviously the more conversion we've had within ourselves. Giving up the authority to the higher skills and abilities of our disincarnated higher aspects and team is a non-physical step that direction.
Yes.
But there are also physical steps. This trip of duality that we thought was a burden is a universal blessing to this universe as we take manifested physical matter and we combine it with the non-physical. Now, the more we see in our manifested creation the true essence of the mother, obviously that requires the eradication, the dismissal with our loving heart of the false masculine, of the patriarchal system. Somebody asked a great question here. What would a female leadership look like? Catherine McCabe, thanks for the response. I don't know. Why don't we find out? You know, I can look at my situation in my life, and I've been on a journey for 3.5 or 4 years, which is just a micro of the macro, right? And I've seen, and still do, very recently seen the feminine leadership take hold in my life. She doesn't require to be in charge. She requires to be equal. That's a universal sacred equation. The world needs to see that. Why? Because this is our opportunity to expand the universe. This is our opportunity to take something very dense and heavy and convert it to that paradise that this began as. You know, it just feels right. And you know, I don't know what it looks like.
Well,
Todd,
yeah, I mean, your program, you got people coming, all kinds of people coming, at different places in their journey, but there's divine leadership, there's feminine leadership there all over in all kinds of forms. It's there. That's what it looks like. It looks like, to me, it looks like heart. And it's not really what it looks like. It's what it feels like. It feels heart. And it's in men and women alike. And we're talking about percentages. Well, to me, it's like the great plan, the way it's working out. And we'll look back on this and see it. We'll see it as balancing itself out. But it's here. We're seeing it, and people are learning at their various levels to take their authority, and their unique authority, their unique expression of that authority. But if you say, what does the authority look like? It looks, to me, it looks the same in men and women. It is presence. It is shine. It is at home with self. It is comfort. It is peace. It is calm. It is clarity of seeing, and it's mother's love of those they share with, the joy of experiencing, or secondhand experiencing, if you like, other people's joy.
Yeah.
It's the fathering of, it's the arm around, and like the father-daughter or the father-son. And you know that presence in anyone if you listen and you're open to it. And you know it. Why? Because you have it. Everyone has it. And so we're beginning to see that appear, and it will emerge in many forms, in many ways, as we are seeing it. So another reason why Soulogy is so beautiful, if you like. And it doesn't have an existence without the people, without the heroes, as you said. It is empty without that.
Sure.
And so, yeah, leadership is this authority, and this authority is the presence. It is the beaming out of, I am the way, the truth, of the light. God, source, whatever you like to call it, and it doesn't matter as long as you feel it.
Yeah.
Because the whole journey now is about feeling. It's about unpacking the feelings. And the more and more subtle we can feel, the deeper and the clearer our sight, our wisdom, our love becomes.
Yeah.
And nothing's left out. And I'm not saying anything that you don't already know, beloved brother, or I know, or anyone else knows.
Yeah.
And it's ineffable.
Yeah.
But it's so real. And so we can spot a charlatan a mile away.
Yeah.
And we're learning to get out of doubt or the fear of judging another because that they have exposed themselves. To be able to say, I mean, I'm talking to a number of beloved sisters who are still, we say, learning, spreading their wings, finding their feet with regards to standing up for themselves with so-called spiritual people who are able to be taking the courage to say, no, not on my watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without the fear of that they're judging. And this is the warrior truth self that we have to be able to say. I have to be able to say, and on rare occasions I've said it to someone coming who's supposedly for help. If off. You're wasting my time and yours. And, you're welcome to come back if you're serious, but don't bother otherwise. Now, is that a judgment? Yeah, you could say it was a judgment, but I'm saying I'm not wasting my energy. I'm not wasting my energy, and that is, I take responsibility for that. And there have been occasions when I remember in the early days when I was doing was getting referrals from doctors, and I wouldn't take any information about them. It was my training and my knowing right from the start that the person would come and they would tell me what they needed in any given session. And if I needed something, I would be given it through a book or whatever long way prior. It would be within that. So I trust myself, trust the person coming, and I trust the universe. So I wouldn't take any information from the doctors. And yet I had, if you like, happy clients.
Yeah.
So they could refer. This woman came to me, and I don't know, she only said a couple of things, and I started talking. Now I talked for a whole hour. I gave her a lecture. I didn't know her from a bar of soap. And yet there's me. And then she leaves, and I think, oh shit, Nicky, what have you done? You know, no information, and I'm talking as if I know her deeply, and giving her a lecture like a father would lecture a son or daughter who's, if you like, going off the rails. And I found out later that she had tried to commit suicide a few times. And that made it even worse, wondering what the hell I'd done. I pushed her over the edge. She came to me a couple of weeks later and said, thank you, Nicky. No one's ever spoken to me like that.
Yeah.
And I realized how crazy I've been. And I'll never do that again. And she was sincere about that.
Yeah.
Now, I thought, one of the things it taught me is that you speak your truth with all your heart, and you let go of the results of the action. That's what Krishna said. Lord Krishna said, do the best you can to the best of your ability and let go of the results of the action.
Yeah.
Trust that the other person has the wherewithal, even if they go away, damn you, and never speak to you again. Bless their hearts. But above all, to thine own self be true.
That's
right. This I know so many people know, but it's like having the courage to stand by the authority, your own authority, and not see it as putting it onto others, but seeing it as drawing the line.
Yeah.
It makes it clear for others. And this is huge. This is huge at the moment, because it's not everyone. So many are thinking, well, to be spiritual, to be loving, I have to be nice.
No.
No. And we can know it, but I'm saying to many of you out there, and if more of you are women, that's the way it is at the moment. Believe in yourself, but have the courage to say no when you mean no, and not take it back on yourself to doubt and to say, oh, well, this is not very nice. This is not being nice. I'd rather be nasty and true than nice and false.
Touché.
And I'm not saying
that's it. No, that's we know what you're saying. Touché.
Yeah.
Touché to that. It's true.
It is.
I'd rather be told a hurtful truth than a beautiful lie, right?
Yes. And what we receive so often, many times, is resistance from the people you're working with.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when somebody says something to me and it hits home that I have resistance.
Yeah. We
get to deal with it quickly.
Yeah. The soul hears it. I said the soul hears it. Yeah. It won't let you forget it.
Yeah, and so we get quicker and quicker at it.
Yeah.
But I'm not immune to any of it. I'm human. I mean, human expression, but we get quick. And sometimes it's so quick, it's just like, oh yeah, gone. You got it.
Yeah.
It's a shadow until it's not a shadow. It's a shadow until it's seen. When it's seen, it disappears. Because shadow doesn't exist in light.
Yeah. You know, that was a quick hour. You know, Nicky, you've been serving your brothers and sisters for so many years. I haven't known you. I've known about you for maybe 2 or 3 years, and you've done a tremendous put out a tremendous effort over these years, and helped and touched so many people. So I just want to, Morgan and I, Soulogy, would like to extend to everybody that's here live and on the replay that Nicky does not have a PayPal set up. I'm going to try to help him with this in the coming days. But in the meantime, anyone that sees this live or sees the replay, we put up a comment at the end of every show which says, if this show resonates, please consider supporting us with a contribution so we can move eventually to our own website and independent stream where we can bring all the different shows in under one roof. That's what our mission is, part of it. But today, I'm just going to put it out there for anyone that sees this, either today or tomorrow or whenever, on behalf of Nicky and Glenn Ray, if you send in a contribution, first of all, thank you. And if you will put in the message part, in the comment part of the contribution through PayPal, Nicky Hamid's name, Nicky, Merlin, you know, whatever reference you want to make to Nicky, we will forward the contribution to Nicky once we collect it. And that's our way of just saying thank you, and I will help you to set up your PayPal or figure out your website situation. Whatever it is affecting it, we'll fix it. But in the meantime, anyone sends in a contribution, put Nicky, reference Nicky in the comments, and we will collect that and then send it forward to you. And this is something we've done before with a few people, and it's always worked very successfully. So I look forward to sending you some abundance from all of our brothers and sisters. And I just want to say on behalf of everybody, thank you, thank Glenn Ray, and I look forward to many, many, many more collaborations with you, my brother.
Oh, thank you. Gobsmacked. Anyway, I just love talking to you, here on with you and with everybody. It just feels so. Can I sing a song? It's yes. Mother's Day. Can I sing a song that that reflects this? And many of you will know it. It's just a short one. She's the angel voice that bids you good night, kisses your cheek, whispers sleep sweet tight, the old voice divine, your mother and mine.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Nicky.
God bless you, brother.
I'll reach out to you soon.
Okay.